Icon, it's similar to Neo and Ethereum in the sense that it's platform-based and they try to use smart contracts. So just in a few words, Icon is designed to be a massive scale ecosystem, allowing different blockchains to connect with one another through the protocol. That means, you know, any type of entity like universities, banks, hospitals, just different smaller groups of private blockchains can share information through Icon online ledger without the intermediaries. So how is Icon different than other platforms? If we kind of do a comparison across, if we, and I wish Neo was on here too, but Icon, Ethereum, EOS, very similar in the sense that they're going to use decentralized applications. Icon's going to have more of the interchain. I think Ethereum will start to have something similar. Which by having those smaller chains allows Icon to have more real-time transactions. Icon plans to have a decentralized exchange as well as a different consensus algorithm. So it allows for those smaller blockchains to basically be a part of the consensus, and they're going to have less nodes. So that way it allows for scaling as well as closer to real-time transactions. There's a few other things that they're promoting, like smart contract versioning, multi-channel tiered system, as well as AI support. So that way each node gets fairly rewarded. So kind of going into seeing why they're a little bit more unique than other blockchains. Again, they have the artificial intelligence for the distribution policies to ensure that the nodes are rewarded fairly. They are going to have a decentralized exchange, which most platforms do not currently have. And then the loop chain, which I think this is what makes it the most unique, because it allows for those smaller subgroups to share information across the blockchain. So in that sense, you can have those smaller smart contracts, and you have those smaller groups that allow for quicker transactions, but at the same time, that this will incorporate a bigger, blockchain. So it's more of the blockchains within the blockchain. Two other things just to continue on is the loop fault tolerance. So this is going to be it basically aims to improve the performance by consolidating the messages across the network. Then Nexus and Icon are public. So it allows just a variety of blockchain-based independent communities to communicate with each other as well as be on their own. So there's kind of like a portal, and then there's like a main portal for the entire blockchain. So looking at the events that are coming up, their mainnet should be released in, I think, 3 days on the 24th. So that was actually supposed to happen in Q4 2017, but it should be happening pretty soon, as well as the decentralized exchange should be coming out and their wallets. I think something to look forward to is more in Q3, where they're going to be working with 10 universities to have this Ucoin expansion, as well as working with financial institutions to help them launch their own coin. So looking at their partnerships, I think this is where they're most solid. So just some of the ones that I circled, you have the financial institutions, you have some of the top universities, and then they're also working with Aeon and OneChain, which OneChain, I believe they recently had or are going to have their ICO soon. So I think they're really pushing, working with the government and working with all these different entities to allow for blockchain in Korea. So looking at them right now, their current market value is priced at 919. As with most coins in the past, week, it's dipped and then rebounded a little bit. But I think it's still a great buy because they do have quite a few partnerships, as well as their mainnet's going to be launched. So I think in this sense, you kind of look at it like it's Neo when it was Ant shares. And I think you're making that long-term investment in hopes that it's going to continue to increase in value. So 3 reasons why I would buy or hold ICX is the timeline, the partnerships, and the technology. I think it's really solid across the board. And is there any questions for ICX?
Did you happen to brush up on much of the interchain aspects of it? So I get that they're kind of a centerpiece between chains, but are those chains part of this larger network, or like are we talking?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's kind of like the side chains in that aspect.
So these chains. So you're not talking about ICX being the middleman between, let's say, Ethereum and Neo.
No.
But instead between transportation and medical or something.
Yeah, exactly. So it's going to be using ICX to basically have those. It's going to be the larger blockchain, as well as work with a variety of different partnerships to have those smaller blockchains and try to have like different subgroups that they can all interact with each other. And in that sense, if you have that bigger blockchain, then you don't have to work with another third party to communicate across.
I love that idea.
Yeah, I think it's pretty interesting, especially they're partnering with 2 other, cryptocurrencies, Aeon and Wan Chain. So I think they have a lot of opportunity, especially if they're going to be working side by side with the government. I think it can only really go up, just because I think it also puts a lot of people at ease with the South Korean government, changing its stance. If they're going to ban cryptocurrencies, they're going to ban exchanges. If they're going to ban trading, if they're going to ban mining, as well with China. But in that sense, it's like a homegrown blockchain. So I think that they're going to stick with them in that essence.
Yeah, makes sense.
Cool. Does anybody else have any questions?
So, have you had a chance to look into the exchange part of it? Sound like at the end of this year, there's going to be an influx of decentralized exchange across multiple projects. What do you think about this new trend coming?
So I mean, it's kind of like Waves. If you've ever used Waves decentralized exchange, I think it's going to be similar to that. So I don't think it's going to try to get into the main game of, all these decentralized exchanges using smart contracts, like similar to Ether Delta, something that you could think of. I think that this is going to be more of how can I buy this, or how can I, buy ICX, or if I have those smaller, if they do end up using those other tokens, how can we quickly transfer them? So it's like an easy to use wallet that allows for quick transactions. But I mean, you're right with that sense. There is going to be an influx of decentralized exchanges, but I don't think that it's going to be as relevant to this, because I don't think the way that it sounded, I don't think it's going to be like an all-encompassing, like, hey, here's every cryptocurrency, you can trade it on this exchange.
So basically, the exchange they're developing is for tokens native to their platform. You couldn't trade.
I think that's what
token.
I think that's what it's more for. Similar to Waves, if you use that, like they'll have other cryptocurrencies on there, but it's not going to be like an all-inclusive like Binance that's decentralized or something similar to that.
Gotcha.
Hey, Austin,
I think we could have a presentation on a decentralized exchanges all in itself.
Definitely.
To be honest, I think it'd be interesting too.
Hey, Austin, I don't know if I missed this, but so the point of the actual ICX token, is that where, like, you would, so let's say I had, one of these side chains that, or are we saying side chain? What's that called? Like one of the chains on it?
Yeah.
So you would need to take your token on that smaller blockchain, put it into ICX, and then take that and use it to purchase some different one?
ICX is a platform in itself, so it's like Ether. So these other smaller chains are quicker and easy to use. I guess you'd call them smaller chains. That's not really what they call them, but it's just something similar. So in that sense, all the transactions between, say, for example, transportation or hospitals or financial institutions are quick and almost real time compared to, and in that sense, you can use them across all these different chains. So if you think of it, you have the big ICX blockchain and then all the smaller independent chains on there. Yeah, I'll show you a picture. So like this is what it's supposed to be similar to. So you'd have like the big, like basically all encompassing chain. And then within it, they have all these smaller groups. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Okay.